What's up, odds jammers? This is Puneet here, checking in, bringing you guys my four positive EV NFL bets for NFL Sunday. So what I'm going to be doing is I bet four different bets that I really liked it for Sunday, and each of them $25, totaling $100. So we can do $100 worth of positive EV bets. I want to spread the love, and I wanted to share this with you guys so you guys can tell with me. So we will start with what I am betting. My first one is Tom Brady against the Falcons, over 2.5 passing touchdowns. Then we have three on BetMGM. We have Cordarrelle Patterson, over 37.5 receiving yards. Mark Andrews, under 4.5 receptions. And finally, James O'Shaughnessy, over 2.5 receptions against the Rams. So let's start with Tom Brady. This one is actually one of the best I've seen in a while in terms of positive EV percentage, and I'm really happy with that. It's a 10.3%, which is pretty big. So as you can see here, it's a 52% chance of winning. The OddsJam perfect line has this at minus 128. So BetRivers plus 110. I'm going to take the plus money there. That's awesome to see plus money there when it's minus 128, 52% favored. So let's go ahead and look at some of his stats. Let's try to justify this a little bit. It has been a little bit tough for Tom Brady lately in terms of passing. You can see here, it's been 3 straight games that he has not gone over this. He's gone 2 and then 1 in last week's win against the Colts, and they've been kind of emphasizing the run. But against this Atlanta Falcons team, they stink against the pass, and I think that this is going to bode well for Tom. As we all know, Tom had 5 passing touchdowns against the Falcons in week 2 of this season. And previously, earlier this year, he had in January against the Falcons last season, he had 4 passing touchdowns. So he really likes to play against the Falcons. He really likes to score passing touchdowns against the Falcons. So I think that trend is going to continue here. Another thing to justify it is looking at Atlanta Falcons and their pass defense. You can see here in terms of passing touchdowns, they are 4th worst in the league, have given up 21 passing touchdowns this season. So for me, I'm pretty confident in this one, plus money on that. So it feels like a no-brainer to me. I'm comfortable with that, locking it in and locked it in. Next one, we have James O'Shaughnessy, over 2.5 receptions. So with this one, it's a little bit, you got to look in the numbers a little bit, but it is a little juicy. With the OddsJam perfect line, it is minus 219, and that gives us a 64% chance to hit. So right off the bat, that's huge. That's something I really look for, and I'm really happy with. Like I said, it is a little juicy on the sports books, minus 155 at BetMGM. That's okay. It's giving us a roughly 5.6% positive EV value play. So he's been hurt most of the season. He started the season and right off the bat, first game, 6 catches. He got hurt in the second game, only 1 catch, but 1 for 24 yards. So clearly they were looking at him. He came back last week, had 3 receptions, and that's on top of having to play behind at the beginning Dan Arnold. So Dan Arnold, if you check out his stats, who's now injured, so now O'Shaughnessy will be taking a lot of Dan Arnold's targets. You can see here, in the previous 3 weeks, 5 receptions, 4 receptions, 8 receptions for Dan Arnold. Let's assume that was O'Shaughnessy being there. He's going to hit this over easy, and I think the odds certainly reflect that. The Jags clearly are making it a point to pass the ball to their tight ends, and they're playing the Rams. I think that they're going to be passing the ball the entire time anyways, as they have been most of the season because they've been down. So this is another good one that I'm happy with, I'm excited with. And obviously the odds, like I said, minus 155, a little out of my range generally, but it's still good. And like I said, that 64% win rate is something that I just could not pass up. Next up, we have, in the game that I think is going to be a pretty big passing game, the Cordarrelle Patterson, over 37.5 receiving yards. So the over-under on this game is 50.5 as of right now. So that clearly tells you that Vegas is also expecting this to be a high-scoring game, which means a lot of offense. And for this one specifically, it is a 3.9% positive EV value play. So you see at the OddsJam perfect line is minus 146, and you can lock it in right now on BetMGM for minus 115. So that gives you a 55.6% win rate, which, again, I love seeing those high 50s and 60s O'Shaughnessy's case. But looking into the numbers, you see here, I already have it highlighted. The last time that the Falcons and Buccaneers played, Cordarrelle Patterson had 58 receiving yards. I mean, we have 37 and a half, and he had 58. And you can just see here, 82, 82, 60, 126, 37, half a yard away. It's really just, it seems like they predicate getting the ball in his hands, whether it's rushing or dumping it off to him. This game is going to require a lot of dink and dunk, and I think that they know that Cordarrelle Patterson is really the only person in the backfield that can do anything for them. So I think it's going to be really important to get him the ball, and I think they're going to do that. Another thing you can see here on my screen is the running backs' stats against the Buccaneers this season. So as you can see, they are pretty susceptible to giving up receiving yards to the pass catching backs. 48 yards, 36 yards, 49, 45, 40. Eagles, whatever. Eagles don't pass the ball. That's a whole different issue. Dolphins, 90. Patriots, 81. Falcons, when they played week 2, 83. So they clearly can give up a bunch of receiving yards to the to the running backs. And I think that this is a good line. Minus 115 over 37.5. I think Cordarrelle Patterson, who is the all everything for the Falcons, this will be pretty easy for him to hit. And I'm pretty comfortable with this one. And finally, one of my favorite players, Mark Andrews. Unfortunately, we're going to go with his under for the game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So you can see here that the OddsJam perfect line is minus 143 for the under. You can lock it in like I did on BetMGM right now for minus 110. That gives us a 5% positive EV play. So let's look into the stats a little bit. You can see here, well, one, I will start before even going into the stats. It's a divisional game, and everyone knows the Steelers-Ravens divisional games. Even we can throw in the Browns, and we can throw in the Bengals, the AFC East in general. A very, very, very tough divisional schedule. Those 4 teams, they play each other tough every single season. Doesn't matter what their records are. You can see it here, though, and looking into the stats, that the Steelers, they play very well against the tight end. Looking at the reception count here, you see against the Raiders, who's Darren Waller, I mean, at that point, pretty much everyone consensus, top 2, 3 tight end. He finished with only 5 receptions. And then after that, 3 receptions total, 3, 4, 9. Here, it was spread out, so I'm not really worried there. Against the Browns. Against the Bears, Kmet is the only person other than Waller the entire season to have more than 4.5 receptions against the Steelers defense. So I am very comfortable with this play. Looking at, again, I'm going to go back to the divisional plays, and you can see here that Mark Andrews, he usually does play very well, and he has a very good average of going over 4.5 receptions. So you might think, wait a second, like this, what are you getting at here? The 2 divisional matchups that the Ravens have played this year. Cleveland Browns, 4 receptions. Cincinnati Bengals, 3 receptions. I think it's just kind of a thing with that division. They always end up playing each other tight. Those are always grit and grind games. And I'm thinking that we will take the chance with this play. And it's looking like OddsJam perfect line is telling us take the under. So we got to listen to it. It's a 5% play. So let's do it. All right, folks, that concludes my 4 plays. I'll go over them one more time. We have Tom Brady over 2.5 passing touchdowns on BetRivers. And we have, let's log back in here, but we have James O'Shaughnessy over 2.5 receptions for 5.6%. We have Cordarrelle Patterson over 37.5 reception yards at 4%. And we have Mark Andrews under 4.5 receptions at 5%. You guys can find me at BetRivers on Twitter, currently riding a 9-3 win streak using just of the positive value plays. So please tail and let's cash together. Happy betting, happy watching, and let's hope that this is a good Sunday for us, guys. Take care.